Hello and welcome again to Latina Voices Smart Talk. I'm Minerva Perez with the other Latina voices, Sofia Adrogué and Patricia Gras.
And we are a talk show about universal topics with a Latina twist. And we always have something to say.
Always.
Man-made or not, climate change and global warming is real and of global consequences, nationally and internationally. What are going to be the strategies, policy on global warming?
Well, news.com is reporting that the Arctic ice cap could disappear by this summer in 2009. Are these dire consequences caused by man? We'll discuss with the experts. But right now, ladies, it's time for Let's Talk, and there's lots to talk about.
Well, I think that if we're talking about global warming, we need to talk about living green, because I think everybody's talking about living green, and there's some basic things that we can do, like changing your light bulb. They said if we change all the light bulbs in Texas, we would do away with one electric grid plant, which is amazing. So, you know, start with basic things, right?
I changed all my light bulbs to energy-saving light bulbs. That's the first thing I did.
One of my pet peeves I want to share with you guys is plastic bottles, okay? You cannot really recycle plastic bottles, okay? They destroy the environment, and only 14% of plastic bottles in the United States get recycled, and you cannot degrade that material.
Well,
so why are people drinking with plastic bottles when they can do some tap water and filter the water? Mm-hmm. And save money in the process.
But you know, the beauty though is we just attended a women's conference, Texas Women's Conference, and what was beautiful, that was the first time that I saw gathering of 6,000, which in and of itself, it wasn't a global warming, you know, gathering. But here it was, you had the option, and Patty's point is very well taken. You could utilize that bottle, which probably shouldn't, or there was a biodegradable, whatever the appropriate term is, of a plastic cup with a note basically suggesting, use me instead. I hadn't seen that before.
Well, you know, it only takes 1 hour to charge a cell phone.
Well,
so you're, you know. Yes. So basic things like this we need to learn about. There are plenty of websites that you can learn about living green. And
do you guys cook? Anybody cook here?
No, you cook for us.
Yes.
I do. I did make some nopalitos for you, didn't I?
Yeah.
But my point is,
why should Sophia and I cook when you cook so well?
My point is that I cook a lot, and I'm very clean when I'm trying to cook. In between the cooking, I clean up around so there won't be a big mess. So I use a lot of paper towels. And I used to just, you know, go through that stuff like water, all right?
Right.
And now I have become so cognizant of the fact that, hey, I can use that same piece of paper that I cleaned the vegetables with to wipe the tops of the counters. So I'm actually getting. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I really.
But a better thing would be just.
And I'm
use
saving money.
A rag. That would be better.
But that breeds bacteria.
Oh,
rags and sponges breed a lot of bacteria, so I don't use them on my counters. I use paper, which is actually healthy.
Well, and I think the big picture point is that we're all thinking twice about it. I went to Target recently. I had not seen before those bags that you can use. So instead of picking up, you buy one bag that you can come and go with, which is nice.
That's a small thing. I think the small things really add up.
Make a difference.
And we're going to be talking to an expert about this kind of thing because of the global warming issue. I mean, when you're talking about chunks of the earth, well, ice anyway, but the part of the earth is going away and disappearing. Imagine what it's doing to the ecosystem, to the animals who live in the Arctic Ocean and up in the North Pole and that kind of thing. It's amazing. It's going to affect all of us eventually.
Absolutely.
And it's time to go and take a break. Global warming and energy policies were pivotal issues during the presidential campaign. We'll be back to hear from the people in the know right after this.
Welcome back to Latina Voices. Our newsmaker is a looming issue of global warming. It's being debated contentiously in Congress as lawmakers argue about how to deal with the overall climate changes and how to stop the heating of the earth. There's enough scientific evidence of global warming, and it is partly caused by man, yet there are still many detractors.
You have scientists, academicians, industry, and all sectors of society have to address and are addressing the cause of global warming. The greenhouse effect, human consumption, rapid population, all what's at stake are Mother Earth.
That's true. And with us to tell us what is really happening is Robert Harris. He is the president and CEO of the Houston Advanced Research Center. I've never heard of this research center. Maybe you can shed some light on what you do there.
I'd be delighted to. The Houston Advanced Research Center was started about 25 years ago by George and Cynthia Mitchell. a very important family here in Houston who've done many things for the nonprofit sector, and we are a nonprofit research institute. There's also the Mitchell Center for the Arts at the University of Houston dedicated to the performing arts. Our Houston Advanced Research Center works on the issues of sustainability of our economy, of our human health, and of our environment, and how to ensure that in the future that our children and our grandchildren will have opportunities that are hopefully even better than those we've had.
Let's talk about global warming. There's still people the deniers, who say, who are very confused about the issue of global warming and say, no, global warming is definitely not caused by man, because there's still scientists who don't agree with that contention. And yet, I attended the IPCC meeting, the Intergovernmental Committee on Global Warming, on climate change, the scientists who won the Nobel Prize for their work on climate change, and they said there is enough evidence that this is happening and that we have to do something now. Yet there's still people denying it. Why?
Well, I think the number of skeptics is diminished down to a very small number, and some of those have an economic benefit by being skeptical. They're employees of the coal industry, for example, one of the industries that's most concerned about the regulations that might be imposed. And by and large, you can look across the spectrum of all of the major energy industries now have accepted that this is a problem, and the question is, what risk does it pose? What do we do about it? The President of the United States has now accepted this as a risk that we must seriously consider, as all of the other nations of the world have. So I think the argument has moved beyond the people who say it's absolutely impossible that we will experience global warming due to human activities, to the question of what does it mean to us in Houston.
Do you foresee the U.S. signing any type of protocol such as the Kyoto Protocol in the next couple of years?
I think it's definitely going to occur in the next Congress that we will see action. Both of our candidates running for the office of the presidency and many people running for positions in the Senate and the House are for signing an agreement that will bring global action to this problem.
Wow. And you think it'll take a couple of years, 5 years?
I
Down
think
the road we'll see some kind of...
I think we'll see an agreement signed within the next year or two, and I think we will see more effective programs to mitigate the emissions of these greenhouse gases within 2 to 5 years.
Thank you so much for all this
Thank you.
information.
Well, I'm
This is
happy to
wonderful.
do
We
it.
can put it to
Yeah,
use. Absolutely. Thank you so much for enlightening us. When we return, Houston proudly hosted the 9th annual Latin Grammys. Who came and its economic impact when we come back.
For the first time, Houston rolled out the Texas-sized red carpet for the 9th annual Grammy Awards ceremony. Millions of viewers all over the world tuned in to the Toyota Center and saw their favorite Latin stars at the annual event, the biggest event.
And the big names like Mexican pop singer Alejandra Guzman and Thalia and Juanes from Colombia, Houston's own La Mafia, are Latin Grammy winners.
They sure were, and it was a huge event for Texas and for the city of Houston specifically. It poured millions into a city that needed that shot in the arm right now ever since Hurricane Ike ravaged the region. So today we hear just what kind of an infusion it will ultimately be for the Bayou City, and we have host committee member Alex Lopez Negrete and Sonia Garza Monarchy, who were very involved in bringing the Latin Grammys here to Houston for the very first time.
It is the very first time that we've had this event here. We're very proud of it.
What did it take?
Okay, you start with prayer.
Gracias a Dios.
You start with a lot of negotiations, and you know, a lot of hard work, and having the right kind of committee and the right committee structure, and having a city and a mayor and a visitors bureau that's behind you and believes in it. This is the biggest stage we could possibly have for our city, and certainly for our Latino community. The event was watched and will be watched over 100 countries. You know, some live and some deferred, but I mean, it is an enormous cultural stage, and you know, Houston's one of the largest Latino markets in this nation, and therefore the world.
Mm-hmm.
One of the really exciting things I understand is that it was the first time the Latin Academy recognized a woman as the person of the year, and so I think that was long overdue.
She deserved it.
And absolutely well deserved what she's done for the industry.
Congratulations getting it here, and we hope to see it here in Houston again.
We'd like to thank you for joining us on Latina Voices. Stay smart, and please join us on our next episode when we discuss more interesting topics and fascinating newsmakers.
And from all of us here on Latina Voices Smart Talk, until next time.